This bonus episode of Questions is brought to you by Patreon. Thank you, everybody, for sending in your questions. As always, very much appreciated. So, as you know, Brona is with us. The Chaise Lounge.
I'm very excited for the questions.
For the questions. Well,
Go.
considering the week that it is, so the first two are of the same topic, so we'll cover it. And actually, maybe the timing of it's quite good to have a female on for. Right. Is Russell Brand a scumbag, or is it a witch hunt to get him cancelled because of his views recently, the past few years, or was his whole plan the last few years to do that so that he can say they're trying to shut me up because he's speaking the truth?
Yes, I've considered this actually.
Okay, and the next one, sort of saying, I'll just do that because they've fallen the same.
Yes.
Next one is the comedy scene is under the microscope at the minute. I remember Niamh Marin posting about harassment and being treated like shit a while ago. We, the audience, only see the funny front of the show, but is behind the scenes really as bad as is being made out, or is it just a small group of cunts?
Right. I like that. Whoever put it that way, that's the way I would have worded it.
Yeah.
Is it just a small group of cunts?
I think it is a small group of cunts. I'm going to... Yeah.
As a woman, I can't speak for all the women on the scene because, you know, obviously it's just my own. I do my own thing and I have kids and I'm busy. But personally, I have not, the Northern Ireland or the north of Ireland, whatever you want to call it, that's not okay. It's the north of Ireland. I'm only slagging. Our scene, I think, is really inclusive and like friendly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
We have a really good vibe. Like, we stay to watch each other. I've had people from all, like, different parts of Ireland and, like, obviously Europe and stuff. Like, they come here and they'll go to the Empire and they'll go, like, you guys stay on to watch each other's acts and you stay on to... Do you know what I mean? And personally, I have never experienced any sort of sexual harassment.
Yeah,
you know, from fellow comedians. Like,
I've never witnessed it, I have to say, in any of the green rooms. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. Maybe it does, but I've never seen it, and I've never
not
heard reports of it
experienced
happening.
it.
I remember one open micer not that long ago. Apparently, was inappropriate in comments made to Diona. And I remember thinking, thank fuck I wasn't there, because he would have got a slap in the head.
Yeah.
But again.
Yeah.
They're just not welcome on the scene then. You know?
Yeah, I just don't think, like, there's a lot of good people out there, and I would like to think, like, I think we have this kind of camaraderie with each other. You know, as you met my friend the other night, and she had said, like, I love coming to your gigs with you because it feels like you're all friends. Do you know what I mean? And we do have a laugh, and, you know, I think that not that we need a saviour. Like, I think I'm perfectly capable of saying to somebody if they were inappropriate or they were a dick to me.
Yeah.
I would call them out. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not a bit behind the door anyway. But just go, the fuck are you talking to? But
but
then
I suppose not every woman's like you.
Not every woman is like me, exactly. And personally, I have had experiences where I haven't spoke. Like, I'm not saying that I have had experiences in the past with men where I haven't been as forward or as, you know, as I should have been. And suppose it comes with age as well. You get to your 30s and you mature and you go, no,
absolutely,
fuck that. No, I'm not. I have my own sense of self-worth.
Well, I was going to say, your own self-esteem then rises naturally with age.
Yes,
you start to realize
it does.
What
your tolerance for
like,
bullshit just goes completely down. And I mean, our scene, I can't speak. England's a completely different story altogether.
I know it's going to sound biased, but I don't think any scene is like ours.
Yeah,
Scotland, England, Wales, or the South.
From a lot of people.
Yeah, because we do have, as you say, camaraderie. We have that thing of wanting each other to do well.
Yeah.
And I think back to what we're talking about Maz and all that crack too. There's a I don't know what you would call it here, but like, I know from my point of view, I like my ma, as I say, she was quite young, but very independent, very like progressive, and she definitely wore the trousers in our house, you know, that sort of way. But
it's like my husband said, whenever he moved over here, people were warning him, like, saying, oh, you need to be careful what you say, paramilitaries and all. And he went, fuck the paramilitaries, nobody warned me about the women. Like, he was like, the women here are just so strong-minded, and like, so he went, fuck yeah, he loves it though, he really respects it.
I think it's great, but I do see it, I do see it with my own daughter. I see that power struggle is going towards men at the moment.
Do you think so?
Yeah. She mentioned something the other day, and it was so weird because we then had a discussion. And at the end of it, she was like, "Oh my God, Daddy, you should come and like counsel all my friends."
Yeah.
But it was weird because she said something about, we'll say two friends. We'll say Brona and Aoife. We'll use the two names. So she was like, oh, Brona was in the nightclub with me the other night and she kissed this fella, but Brona didn't know that this fella was talking to Aoife.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, right. And I was like, what do you mean talking to them? And she went, well, like, talking. And I says, are they going out with each other? She went, no. Yeah, they go each other, but they're just talking. Like, and
what
she, right?
Kids say meeting.
Right. Well, talking,
Right.
meetings. So this, so then she said this statement. She went, and Aoife's just worried. Like, Aoife doesn't want to say nothing to him because she doesn't want to, like, ruin the relationship. And I was like, whoa. I thought they were just talking. And she went, no, but it's like, I was like, so basically the man has this woman on the end of a fucking string
Yeah.
and has taken all the power to himself
He has all the power.
and is now deciding, I might kiss this girl in the nightclub,
Yeah.
but you hang on and wait
But
till
you
I'm
can't
ready.
say anything about this
Because we're talking.
Yeah.
Because it's not taking a step off. Because I sounded so old when I was, because I went through, I was like, so they're going steady? She's like, no, they're not going steady.
Yeah.
I was like, so they only like have a kiss when they're out, or they only
Yeah.
get together when they're out?
Yeah.
She goes, well, yeah, that, and like they go to each other's houses and stuff. I was like, that's going out with somebody.
Yeah.
She goes, no, that's
casual.
He's just talking
He's
to her.
using her.
He's using
her.
And I was like, that's a fucking, and I was
And
like,
then
why?
he's seen her mate. He's a bastard.
And I was like,
Dawn
why?
is a fuck boy. Ditch him.
But I said to her, I was like, why are you, as women, you have the power.
Yeah.
Why are you letting some fucking dickhead let two women fight against each other?
Totally.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
instead of coming together, and she's like, oh my God, I need you to talk to all my friends. I was like, that's...
I'll
but it's
fight
just-
for my man. I'll never fight over a man. Do you know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's a different thing altogether. And see, first things first, girls. Girl code. Sorority. Sister sorority. Lift each other up. See if it comes down to
doesn't
fighting
seem
over
to
a fella.
happen, but
Yeah, there is.
they're
It
so
is very
competitive,
chaotic.
very like almost instinctual thing of I'm protecting my... And sometimes it might even be their man because they're only talking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're still
going-
very protective. And then instead of coming together and uniting,
Yeah.
it's so
Need
strange.
to
Like,
see, this is the generation that didn't have Brandy and Monica.
That's
The
what happened, you
boy is mine. And then, you need to realize that, like, but Beyonce and Shakira did say, it's not worth the drama. Let's not start a fight.
I blame the wet ass pussy.
Let's just kill the
generation,
karma.
that's the
He's
thing.
just a beautiful liar. That's what I was looking for. Yes, get that guy. It must be slim pickings down here. Tell them to get up to... Actually, don't even fish
Nah,
in
I don't even
Belfast.
fish in Belfast.
Go to London, fish over there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what I
It
do.
just it annoyed me. I thought, fucking men again.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
managed to do it. And like,
Being
they're only,
dicks.
18, 19. I was like, they've managed to, as a society, as a cultural thing, they've managed to get
Starting
these
with
girls
those fuckboy tricks already.
already. Like, at
Yeah.
that young. And I'm like, Jesus, you need to fucking get together and realize you
Yeah.
actually have the full power.
Do you know what to do? Sit them down and get them to watch Ants or A Bug's Life. Do you know that one where it's like, what do you mean? We're so small, but we can all get together and defeat the enemy? Yeah, do that. Any Marvel movie.
That's a sexual revolution via ants.
Via ants, yeah. And you might end up with ants in your pants if you don't watch who it is you're snuggling around with. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
as for Russell Brand,
Speaking of
there's
ants in
one.
the pants, Russell Brand.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've read his books, funnily enough, years ago. I do remember reading My Bookie Book.
No, I never
And
did.
My
I.
Bookie Book too. And I did think when he was, whenever I was reading his thing, sometimes he can be a wee bit convoluted. Like, he'll go out of his way to make himself sound really intelligent.
He does it all the fucking time.
You know,
You
whenever...
can sometimes see the cogs working when he's trying
Yeah,
to find
I
the
mean,
big fucking
he's
words he
being,
wants.
it's
and all,
so
you're like,
superfluous to need. You're just like, say what you want to say. And I get it. I'm all for a bit of poetry whenever you want to speak. But see, if you have a point to make, you can just fucking spit it out. Spit the bricks, build a house. But the thing is, I want to say, I read the allegations against him, right? They seem pretty fucking legit, right?
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
very damning.
Yeah.
One woman went to the police. One woman reported it to your senior right away. This isn't people coming out of the woodwork years later.
no.
This is, if anything, I think what it is that the media have had this story for a long time and have only decided to use it now. But that doesn't mean he didn't do it.
Yeah, because that's the question was: is he a scumbag or is it a witch hunt to get him? And I was like, why can it not be,
Both.
why can it not be both?
Both.
It's not a binary decision. Like, you can be
Yeah.
a fucking scumbag. Now, I think there was a super injunction in place. That's why nobody was allowed to report on it.
Right, to see.
Which meant that if anybody, I think I had to read into what a super injunction means, that if a journalist or any publication even mentioned that there was a super injunction in place, they're in contempt of court.
Right.
So I think
And
there's a
then
bigger
it's fruit of the
discussion to be had
poison
about
tree.
these fucking, like, a
If
super
you have enough
injunction.
money, you can buy anonymity from
Yeah.
this shit, and it shouldn't be like
No,
that.
and I think a super injunction is fine if it's about you know, maybe
protecting.
a business dealing you had or something that went wrong, or you know, you've lost money, you don't want people to find out about it, but it's all legal.
Yeah.
Anything that's a
Blue
crime,
collar sort of crime.
but anything's a crime. Any crime at all. That's...
But whenever it's something personal, sexual, things like that, like this is how people like Jimmy Savile were allowed to run rampant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? But now I'm not comparing him with Jimmy Savile. Whatever you want to think about Russell Brand, one thing I will say though is he's a recovering addict and alcoholic. And personally, coming from a recovery background myself, I would be inclined to ask myself if he was using or drinking at the time. Whenever he has, not that that is an excuse whatsoever for any indiscrepancies, but I do, like, I have a rule: if I haven't spoke to you in 4 years, I can't speak about you anymore. I don't know you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People actually do change a lot.
There's no denying he might have done, but whether or not, like the question,
If he has done
whether
it,
it was done intentionally to try and go down this transcendental fucking yoga meditation route.
I'm wondering,
was
his recovery process?
He
from
must
that?
know, just like, and I don't, well, fuck it, we're going to compare him to Savile, but just like Savile, he must have known it was going to come to an head at some point. He must have known it was going to come out, or
So
did he
this
think...
Guru Zen thing has all been to go, I might have acted out of hand in the past, but I am a changed man.
Yeah.
And maybe he is, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't stand accountable for the crimes that he committed.
Absolutely.
And
and that's, and one thing I think, and I'm hoping that this happens with the society today, is that victims know that they're going to be supported. And that's the thing. It is changing. It's not there 100%.
Here's
not
the thing,
close,
though,
but
you can't really, it's not even about being supported. Like, personally,
believed even.
from speaking, I was actually talking about this with a friend the other day, right? And there's so many instances where things happen to women, myself included, right? And you'll put it down to too much drink was taken. See, back whenever I was coming up, like, there was no such thing about informed consent and this and that and the other.
No, yeah.
And it is a scary world. But things happen to women all the time, and they don't say anything simply because they go, well, see, even if I am 100% right and I have all this evidence, say you get raped, right? And you have DNA evidence, you have CCTV footage of it, right? Say you were to have the whole shebang and go to the cops with it. They're still going to put you on the stand and talk about all your past sexual partners, all the other times you got drunk, all the other times you did this. So you still get dragged through the mud anyway, regardless of whether or not you have proof that you're right. And some women just decide, upon weighing it up, that they don't want to put themselves through that, or they don't want their parents finding out about them.
But I also think that what you mentioned something in the last episode about slut shaming.
Yeah.
You know, I think the fact that we can acknowledge that and that it is a thing that exists, that I love the fact that we now have terms for what has actually been done. So then a prosecutor or a fucking defense partner can't slut shame in court. You know, that's what I'm hoping we're getting to.
I mean, it's
we're
only been
slowly getting there. But
last year that the defense of death by rough sex was thrown out. Look at the many men who walked away from charges of murdering their partners because they said, oh, well, we're just doing it rough and she liked it like that.
Yeah.
You know, and now you can't have it. It's only was a year or two ago when that law was brought in. I don't want to, in case Lucy's Law I wanted to say there, but there was a girl who was killed by her partner, and really violently, and it was only brought in after, like, her parents and everybody went toe to toe to campaign and say he shouldn't have been allowed to use this as a defense. Do you know what I mean? Even if, you know, even people who are into that as a kink or S&M will say no, everything's done with consent.
Yeah, and that is the thing. And then, because, you know, that's not to say that again it's allowed, but I mean, people always say no means no, and then you're like, but some people are in a
relationship but they have safe words.
Where they have safe words. So no, you know what I mean? It's like fuck. There's so many nuances and so many things going on, but it should all be about trust between the two people.
Me and my husband have a laugh where our safe word is always going to be monkey slut, right? Because of, like, there's a show. No, I think it was actually How I Met Your Mother. Like, monkey slut's the safe word. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the safe word? Telling the police the safe word was monkey slut. Do you know what I mean? But
my wife's safe words are not tonight.
Yeah, not tonight. I'm constipated. That's all I have to say. And they don't even fight you on it. So you just go, I'm constipated, and they go, well, that's completely fine. I do not want to have sex anymore. But I love that we're living in the non-slut shaming world. We're like,
absolutely.
Yeah, she got that day.
And she could,
good girl, high five.
I fucking enjoyed it, and all my friends.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, all my friends.
Call it
Call it the
BTS.
big. Like, I have 4 boys, so I am never going to get to high five
No.
them. In fact, if they come into me looking a high five, I would give them one straight to the face.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But with girls, I think because we're trying to bring that energy, because we've been oppressed for so many years.
Exactly. And it must be so, because there's a fine line of
Yeah.
like having the freedom to do what you want, but also having the respect for yourself.
Like, I was very, very good growing up, I have to say. I didn't, like, hit my... I wouldn't actually even call myself a slut, to be honest. But I didn't hit my slut stride until
Yeah.
I was much older.
But you weren't sexually active, so you were,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you know, like, the way nowadays they probably are going sexually, I was very, like, no. Do you know what I mean? I was even into, like, my 20s, I was, like, a serial monogamist. Do you know what I mean? Like, always had a boyfriend of, like, years and years. And then you have to go through your wee phase where you find yourself and you shag the Mickey Bartletts. Do you know what I mean? And you go,
You discover yourself, you know.
You discover yourself and you come into yourself. No, but I just think girls, go get it. You know, enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
and boys
absolutely.
too. Like, as long as everybody's consenting, what's the problem?
Yeah, and that's the thing. But I mean, back to the comedy scene. I mean, we don't. And then, again, I haven't seen it. I haven't witnessed it. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But I've been in quite a lot of the North venues and quite a lot of the green rooms, like yourself, and I don't see it.
Yeah.
And I do like to think, if you think of the current crop of us, like as a group, I do think that everybody. I can't think of anybody who wouldn't step in and stop it if they did see it.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true.
that is a good thing. And I just I don't know what it is. I don't know how it has happened here in the North, because I said to somebody the other day, I was
Maybe it's
like,
because you don't get very many females in the green rooms to begin with.
absolutely, yeah, that's another that's another bigger picture issue in regards to the comedy scene. But you would like to think that if anybody was to give it a go, that the likes of yourself and other people would say, yeah, it's a nice environment,
definitely,
rather than, oh fuck, stay away from that place or stay away from them people. Or
No, and on that point, like, I do think, I don't want to sound like I'm being catty here, because there are loads of funny women that are doing really well. I think, like, loads of funny women are coming to the front now.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
absolutely, yeah.
And personally, yous can flay me for this. Yous can slay me for this. I know I am a feminist, but I just want to say that if you want to make it on the comedy scene, just practice and get in there. And as a woman, like, get your set down, record yourself, send it out to people, and see if you are good and you are funny.
yeah.
You will get the shows,
and
because they're crying out for women.
Absolutely, and like even when we used to run the open mic night, we're constantly calling out for females to come forward. And the other thing about it is, like, I do feel for female comedians, because I do feel that they're judged way more by the audience than any male act.
Oh God, see the man. In fact, my tour, I'm doing a wee tour next year, hopefully,
Maybe.
and I'm gonna have my wee line that I want. You know, where people put wee things up, like, funny as fuck.
Yeah.
Da 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 da
Your
da.
wee quote.
Great ride, Mickey Bartlett. You know, I'm gonna have this quote that this guy said to me before, and it was one of the best things anybody's ever said to me. He said, "You're actually really funny for a woman," right? So I'm gonna have that under my fucking poster. Actually really funny for a woman. Some guy. Yes.
But and this is the thing, and I've talked to Mickey about this before, because we've had this conversation about male female sort of thing within the comedy circuit. Here's the thing, and we all agree on this one: if a human is doing comedy, they're a comedian,
Yes.
and all we want to do is talk to comedians.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter if they're male or female.
Yeah.
We all have that shared thing. And so I am very much like that. I don't see female comedians. I'll see a comedian.
Yeah.
And then you end up, because you share the stories of dying, and you share the stories of fucking this gig's terrible and that's when, you know. So you're in that group. So
Yeah. We'll have like a shorthand.
yeah,
The way
it's
that
like
we
a
talk
weird,
to one
and like,
another.
and like if another woman come over who non-comedian, and like, go you away, because I want to talk to my comedian
Yeah,
friend.
I
You know
want
what
to
mean? It's
see
like,
what they
yeah,
thought,
it's-
or what
it's
they.
not- I don't give
You know
a
the way
fuck
you
what
have
you
like
have,
this
yeah.
shorthand as well. We all go here. It's one of those gigs where that you have to work hard for your next laugh, like, you know. And it's like, you know, those audiences, they'll laugh at your jokes, but you cannot be assured that they're going to give you the next laugh.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
You're
we
on your
have-
toes all the time together.
Are
yeah.
we shorthand,
And we
don't
know
we?
the way of reading the room and stuff. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So there is like that. It's not. No, I don't think England and all the rest of them have them things. And I think I'm always trying to find what the fucking reasons behind anything is, the psychology behind it. I think because we are still very small in the sense that everybody knows everybody else.
We're
and if you
parochial,
don't know the person, you'll know somebody who knows them, or you know somebody who went to school with them, somebody went to university with them, somebody went, you know what I mean?
That's the way.
And
England has anonymity
they
that
have
way.
anonymity, and down south the same. Whereas here they don't. Now, does that mean people are behaving themselves better here because they're afraid of people? No, I don't know.
It could be going on and we wouldn't know. Like, but what if we don't know that somebody has been, you know, something has happened behind the scenes and they haven't let on? You know, we're not saying that it hasn't happened. We're just saying it. Like, I haven't personally seen. Like,
if it does happen, I would class it as a one-off thing. I don't think there's not a, what would you call it? There's not a
I don't know of any
cult
missing
like
stir. Put it that way. Now, I only realised going through my messages that Mickey had actually asked me before what the missing stir was. And I was raging at myself. I must have been like fell asleep or something. And I didn't get to explain it. And the missing stir is a concept that's used to describe how we relate to one another it's actually a predominantly female thing. Now, forgive me if I don't describe this like fully accurately for everyone who knows what I'm talking about. But a missing stir is used to describe, can be like a sex offender, right? It was bandied about a lot whenever Jeffrey Epstein, or what did you call that guy, the director, Harvey Weinstein, he would have been a classic missing stir, right? So what happens is you think of a house.
I'm going to stop you here because the Belfast accent's really getting me. What are you saying there? Missing stair?
Stair.
As in stairs? On a house. Okay.
Missing stir.
See, that's the Belfast stir. And I was like, did you see it? Because I was like, is it a missing stir? I don't know. Yeah, stir the pot.
Stir.
Right,
missing stair. Stair.
You're supposed to know your fucking words.
I know. I know them. I just can't say them. Right. But basically, if you go into somebody's house, and a load of people live in there, right, and you're walking up their stairs, and there's a stair missing, right, and you trip on it, and everyone in the house will go to you, you fucking tripped on the stair. It's missing. But you never told me it was missing. Oh, right. Well, you should have known, right? Okay. But the thing is, whenever you go into the house, normally what happens is, can I use your bathroom? Yeah, but be careful, the third stair's missing. Okay, right. Jump over it, right? If you jump over the stair, thing. If you fall into the stair, right? They're going to go, we told you it was fucking missing. But the question you should be answering is, why hasn't anybody fixed this missing step? Yes. Right? Why hasn't anybody? Or it's not my fault for falling into it. So people use that to describe Epstein and Weinstein because a lot of their accusers, people were saying, but all the women told you he was like that. All the women told you he was like that, and you still went into his office. So it's your fault he raped you. And the thing is, you want to go, but how come nobody just fixed what the problem instead of all just warning each other about it? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, we still haven't had one single client.
There's a lot of that going on across the water, I believe. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I've read a few autobiographies by comedians who have said that there's a lot of power lies in the hands of these promoters and bookers and things like that. So there are a lot of missing stars over there that women will tell each other about. Right. Like if you're going to his gig, make sure you're with a female friend, or if you're with such and a such, because he's going to try and finger you in the stairway, or he won't let you on again unless you have sex with him, or he won't, like, it does happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't, because I've read stories like
I just can't think of any venue in the north that has somebody running it that would do that.
I think I shagged Mickey Bartlett and I can't get a gig in Lavery's. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can say I ever said I'm only saying I've actually had a gig in Lavery's. I am joking.
I have run through my head there and I was going, no, I think most, but I do know of a couple of rumoured venues in the south, and I know obviously of
I've heard
England
a few stories about the south as well.
But I can't think of anywhere in the north, and maybe somebody can correct me on that, maybe some of our female comedians.
Say what you want about the north, we might be under England's rule, but at least we still let women have their freedom. Know what I'm saying?
But I always say this about the comedy scene, for this whole place is united in support of the comedy scene.
Yes.
But divided on everything else.
I love that.
Isn't it? It's fucking deadly.
Love it. See, at the minute, this is the fucking place to be.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
It really is. Because I think that we have just had so much, like, sectarianism and partitionism over the years that a lot of the time we're like, what are they doing over there? What's happening at that bonfire? Willie and Paddy are a great example of it.
Me and William were talking about last week, just about that general thing of, we're past that now, almost. Like, we're just, it's like, if the politicians could take fucking note of what we're doing.
Like, we might not even be past it. We might still fight under Belfast Live articles, but we'll laugh at it together.
Absolutely. And I do believe, and I said this to McCann before, and I said it to William last week, I think it's because we're not like the South, and we're not in England, Scotland, Wales, is that we know where it goes.
Yes. Yeah.
We know the shit.
Yeah.
And we know how dark and how bad things can get. So then we don't take it seriously.
Yeah. If you don't laugh, you're beat.
You get too. It's very hard to get offended here in the north.
It really.
Because I think people don't take it seriously.
You couldn't cut us with a big knife.
I'm not talking about like hate crime or racism or any of that sort of stuff. Not like that. But I mean just general slagging and taking offence on something, or a topic being too taboo. That's not the case.
There's no such thing as taboo over here, unless it's Halloween taboo. But it's just I love that. I kind of have this theory where it's like, as long as it's funny.
Yeah.
As long as it's funny, you can say it. Yeah, right? Absolutely. And I know that a lot of people would disagree with me on that and go, no, there's things that you shouldn't joke about and there's things but I'm like, listen, my ADHD brain giggled and then couldn't process not to say that. So it's out there now. It's on the internet.
And I think it's back to what you talked about earlier on about the skill of practicing. Mm-hmm. And I think I would be the same idea as yourself. I think any topic is laughable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or can be laughed at as long as it's done right.
It's a coping mechanism.
But that takes skill to do that.
Oh yes, definitely.
You don't try and hit a serious topic when you're still your first year of open mics thing.
You can't just walk in there and go, here, what about abortion?
Or do you see? Or do you see what's happening now? Sometimes I watch it in open mic things at the moment, and in fairness, it does happen maybe more towards some of the females, but I've seen it with the males too. This thing, and I remember sort of feeling like that at the very start of, I want to let these people know what my politics are. I don't mean Catholic Protestant. I mean like
want to get it out of the way.
Your ideology and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. And there's times I'm like, that sounds like a political campaign. Rather than a stand-up set. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Go and get yourself a soapbox and stand in the corner and talk about the political stuff. Your job here is to make people fucking laugh.
But there are great comics like Bill Hicks. Yeah. Who he had this amazing way about him where he was not afraid of silence. Yeah. In fact, he would lean into it. He's one of the only comedians that I've watched that like literally begs for a silence, because he'll drop a truth bomb on you and then he'll wait for it to land, and it's not funny.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think people enjoy feeling something. They enjoy feeling like motivated by something, or they enjoy feeling, it's very Brechtian if we're getting into the theatre here. Like, you're, rather than performing, you're demonstrating. A way of life. You're going, here's what the crack is.
George Carlin got into that towards the end too. It was more political speeches.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong here, I'm not here for it all. I'm not here for all the political shit all the time. There's a time and a place. But sometimes
my thing is, nice I think if you're a newcomer and you're trying to work on 7 minutes, don't have any of that to do with politics. Yeah. Get your set together, get your skill, as you said earlier on, get your practicing and all the rest. Then when they know who you are, and they kind of, I don't mean famous,
basically about getting over your nerves.
It's over your nerves, figuring out how to write a joke. Yep. I didn't know how to do it at the start. I'm still not 100% sure. But
yes, you can. You killed it on Saturday.
But you know what I mean? You still try and figure it out. But I think, when people find your voice, that doesn't mean you're famous. I mean, when they find your voice and they've seen you a couple of times, go, oh, I know what she does.
I think it actually gets easier the more people have a feel for who you are.
Absolutely.
Do you see, whenever people have absolutely no idea who you are at all, they're like, oh, I need to figure out whether or not I'm allowed to laugh at this. Yes. But whenever people kind of get your sense, like doing the wee podcast, and people get a sense of who you are, then it's like whenever you go to Paddy McDonald's gigs, people go there. His audiences are completely different.
Oh, fuck, aren't
they? Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll have an audience who's really, like Shane Todd's audiences were fucking brilliant the other night. Like, really, like, Derry ones, can't beat them.
Always love.
Do you know what I mean? Just absolutely fantastic. And then you get a Paddy audience that's like, they're fucking brilliant as well. They're always really good to play to, but they're a wee bit more like,
they're livelier, like, aren't they? Like,
they're a wee bit. They're there for a rally. Do you know what I mean? They'll be there. They go there, and sometimes it's break a battle on your way in the door and hope for the best. I'm only joking, but it's like, they're not afraid. It's like a Jimmy Carr audience versus a Michael McIntyre one. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they're not afraid to shout out. They want to be heckled by him sometimes, or they want that kind of dynamic.
Is fine, but I don't know how long you can do that. You know what I mean? It's like heckles are because ultimately they're disruptive. They're trying to do a set.
See, the hecklers that think that they're helping you.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
You know, but you're like, no. In fact, there was a heckler at a gig that I did with Patty, and she would not fuck up, right? She was just going on, and it was okay because I put her in her place at the
Because that's
start.
not heckling. That's
It's
just being
not.
disruptive.
It wasn't funny.
No.
But it was fine because I managed to make a joke out of it. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And like, you know, and turn it around. And the audience laughed because I was able to put her down. And then she was sort of quiet. But then whenever Patty came on, she was talking. And people in the audience were just going, get her out.
Aye,
Get her out.
Yeah,
They
get her
paid money to sit
Exactly.
there.
It's the most distractive thing and most distracting thing is somebody talking or somebody being disruptive. Because it's not just the immediate people sitting beside her.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the 2 rows in front, 2 rows behind, maybe even 3 either
Yeah.
side are all hearing it, and they're all being distracted. So then you've got a pool of people. Being
People don't
distracted by
realize
one
that
fucking...
although comedy's more of a like concert type environment, it's not. It's still like a performance. You're still there to watch it.
I've said this for years. I was like, it should be treated exactly the same as going to watch a play.
Yeah, yeah. Like
If a
they
play
put
is a
together
comedy
set.
play and all the rest, it's you laugh where it's funny, but you would never dream of joining in with a play.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I always say that it should have that vibe. And promoters, any promoters out there, by the way,
Read them the riot act.
No, your show should feel like a theatre play. See
Yeah.
this cracker going to a gig and the audience is all lit up.
Or sitting having their dinner.
I'm like, what the fuck are you like? You should be in darkness. Like a
Yeah.
theatre, you're in darkness. This is the
Yeah.
stage. They're there to watch a show.
Yes, they're
But
there.
they can't get it's something. I don't know.
Aye,
We could be here all fucking day on that
I
one.
know here.
Right, okay. Evening, gent and good lady. Yeah.
No, I like it.
Sorry about this one. It's long. So went to see Paul Smith at the weekend in SSE. Now, don't get me wrong. He was a very, very good comedian. His show was funny as fuck. But he was on stage for almost 2 hours. Now, maybe I'm used to the comics at home. But do you think that's too long or long enough? Also, see people who go to comedy shows and chat amongst themselves and only laugh when the crowd laughs because they
way.
weren't listening. Fuck, that's mad. When can I start hitting people and telling them to fuck up? Brona,
Right away.
Brona, how are you keeping? Seeing you at PBs for the first time, you were great. And how was the drive to Fintona? Yeah, that's all from the one.
Thank you so much.
So
for that.
we'll start from that's Philip. Philip 6 questions. Right. So the 2 hours. Do you think that's too long?
Yes,
I think the same.
it is. Well, put it this way. If you're doing a play and it's 2 hours, that's usually a 3-act play.
Yes.
So that's too long.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think humans have a certain limit.
Yeah.
Even just sitting in seats, no matter if they're drinking or
Definitely.
not.
You
where
need
they
to get up and walk about.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on a fucking airplane, you get up for a wee walkabout in case you get the DVT.
I think 240s.
Yeah.
245s.
245s
If you think
is-
about it, a football match is 245s.
Yes.
A full match is an hour and a half. What the fuck are you up there for an hour and
I
fucking
know.
or 2 hours?
Fair play to him. Like, you got your money
yeah.
worth.
Oh,
You
yeah,
did
like,
get your
but then-
money's worth out of him. But
does it-
could have
does it-
been condensed?
I was going to say, but does it sour it at the end? And then do the people
Sometimes-
that turned up to that on Saturday night go, well, I've seen him now.
Yeah.
I don't need to see him again.
Yeah. I'm all smithed out.
I'm sniffed out and that's it.
Yeah,
You know, I
like,
don't know. It's a difficult one.
Sometimes you get like this with jokes as well, don't you though? I
Mm.
think that sounds to me like someone who was really enjoying themselves for a start. He must have really enjoyed you if he stayed on that long.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or he hasn't honed that set. Like, do you know whenever you're clinging to a joke because you know it's funny, but then you go, actually, I could turn that into a 1-minute joke instead of a 3-minute joke. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, it
He's
doesn't. We
milking
need
it
to be a
out, like.
bit German with this and
And he probably, like, I mean, if he's on
the
stage for 2
language.
hours, he's probably done an hour of crowd work, knowing him. You know,
Yeah.
that's his
Yeah, he
strong
could
point. Like,
have.
but see, the people who go to comedy shows and chat amongst themselves, this is one that really gets me. I've only seen this a couple of times where they only laugh when the crowd laughs because they weren't listening. I've seen that a few times.
Have you?
I've watched it recently. Where
I would love to do the teacher on them and go, excuse me, hold on. What did I just say?
Yeah, repeat back to me. What are you
Repeat back
laughing
to
about?
me what I just said.
That's-
Not very fucking funny, are you?
That'll be fucking brilliant. Like,
know?
But yeah, like exactly what we just talked about. It does. It really just fucking annoys the people around them. So when can you start hitting people and telling
Right
them to
away.
fuck up? Right away. Soon to start.
Do you know what to do? Set a
Genuinely-
precedent. In fact, I would let them know. Listen, guys, because see if you let it go on for too long, they'll think you're just interrupting their conversation because you're not involved in it. I would say to people, listen, guys, I'm a wee bit hard of hearing. I would tell a lie. I'd go, I'm a wee bit hard of hearing, but you mind shutting the fuck up.
Do you know
so I
what?
can listen.
I wouldn't even say that to people because you know why? That's the potential for confrontation. If I was in the audience, I would go straight
If
to a
you ask
security
a
guard,
staff member,
and say, "Listen, these people are disruptive and they're ruining our night.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to get in the lead because security are getting fucking well paid.
Yes.
Well fucking paid, especially
Most
if Paddy and
definitely.
them boys doing the arena, they know the fucking cost of security.
Especially in the SSE, they don't see hecklers. I went to see Michael McIntyre in the SSE. One thing I can say about him is I was a wee bit disappointed with how he handled it, actually.
Right.
There was a fella there, and all right, he was a bit of a knob. He was going, you, right? But he didn't. Sometimes a heckler just wants to be acknowledged and then they'll shut the fuck up. Do you know what I mean? But he didn't even. It was like right away, it was, they were out. Do you know what I mean? Like he went, you once, and I saw him being escorted. And this is before I was doing comedy. But part of me thought, that was a bit lazy. You know, he could have even acknowledged it as he was leaving and made a joke out of it to break the tension in the room. I just thought having him lifted right away and not giving him the chance, you know, to say. But then it isn't down to the performer to say that.
The thing for like, I run dailies, as you know, and we have the 2-tap rule. So the first tap on the shoulder is we're going to ask you to be quiet, and the second tap is time.
Oh, that's a great rule.
It's time to go. You always give them the first warning to say, listen, because some people it's their first time ever been in a comedy gig or whatever. And you can't blame them; they're just having a good time.
And they don't get the prime.
And I always say it's a big difference between a heckler and a disruptor.
Yeah.
Somebody going you is just disrupting.
Yeah.
Somebody coming in with something funny that maybe might catch, and that's a heckle.
And sometimes whenever you're asking people to speak back, they might go on a wee bit, so you're like, great.
Yeah.
But
I'll
the
have my last
comedian
name
can
Queens,
usually...
and they're like, fucking hurry up, get the point.
Like, come on. What's even worse, though, is like if you get a room and somebody's doing a bit of crowd work, like the MC. I saw an MC try to do crowd work in a room before, and the room was dead. They were not. So I went on and made a joke about it. I was like, that's it, fucking... Tell him nothing. Do you know what I mean? That definitely word here. Tell him fuck all, right? Yeah. But yeah, it was you can't just say to security. I would say security.
Say,
be it
that's because I mean, and I don't know which comedian said it. Some famous comedian said distraction is the death of comedy. So whether it's a loud bar worker, fucking scoops of ice or tills or whatever, clinking the glasses and emptying the dishwasher, somebody fucking on their phones and even the screen lighting up. All of those things are a distraction away from what the comedian's trying to do, which is to get the punchline and make you laugh. Yeah. So if anybody's ruining your night, rather than because that can cause a confrontation, you don't want people fucking fighting anything of it.
Right enough.
Let the securities ones get fucking decked.
Dudes get shot.
And how was the drive to Fintona? Final question from it.
I tell you something actually. See, before going, I need to ask you about that. I don't know what it is about Siri. I have a feeling Siri Maps always brings me round the fucking long way. I got here fine, and it was grand getting toward Oma. But I'm pretty sure that I didn't have to go through every back road, buck your sister, wee lane that I did there.
Right.
Toward the end.
We'll have to recheck. Well, there is a diversion on the moment, so we might have to go and take a look.
No, it might be that night. It wasn't just motorway straight here. I might have taken a detour, but I have to say, I really like it down here. It's a lovely wee town vibe.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Fintona would be the more upper class area.
Fintona. I was calling it Fintona. So maybe I've heard.
Maybe this Fintona from now on.
Ew, this Fintona.
Right, hi gents. No, Maggie's not here. Any dates coming up in the near future down south? I don't think so. I don't have anything booked, and I thought I was going to be in the Galway Comedy Festival, but they didn't book me.
They didn't book you. Bastards.
So I don't know yet.
I've never been booked for the Galway Comedy Festival.
I've never been booked either. I was hoping this was my year. So yes, I don't know if Mickey has anything down south. Normally he might have a gig in somewhere, but it's probably cancelled to go to Australia. Right. So next up, was back at work today after 2 unreal weeks off. I got married, I had the best wedding day ever. Then I went away to Portugal for a week, came crashing back to reality today when my alarm went off for work. My question is, how do you deal with the come down in life after such a high? That is a come down like that.
That is getting married. I know. And then he's never going to really have sex as frequently as that ever again. No. Or she, could be she.
Or she.
Well, then you can, love, just...
Well, unless she's called Gary.
Oh, right, right. Right, Gary, love, here's what it is. See if she says she's constipated, she's just putting you off. Do you know what you do, Gary? You get right on in there. You ask your doctor for fluoxetine, 40 milligrams, right, with a wee side of Valium. And then you book yourself another holiday.
Yeah, or learn how to cook the meal that she loved when she was away,
Yeah.
and remind her of it every Saturday evening. And
You've still got so much to look forward to, though.
Through. But I do remember. Did you go away on a honeymoon anywhere?
No, I found out I was pregnant like the day after my wedding, so it was like put on the back burner. But we did eventually get to Iceland to see the Northern Lights, which was romantic as fuck.
Beautiful, wasn't it?
Absolutely lovely.
Love to see
I would
that,
love to
actually.
go back there. Actually.
Yeah, we did Jamaica. And,
Ooh.
yeah, I was fucking.
Jamaican me crazy.
I was home.
Did you have a ball? Did you get the Jamaican?
I had so much of it, I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, what the fuck? Why do I keep taking this off these people?
Your wife's a wise woman. Take him to Jamaica.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want. He'll be lying in bed. You can go and get your nails done. He'll be lying
just waiting
there.
for food. That's all you got to do.
Yes.
Right.
But congratulations on your
yes, congratulations.
nuptials.
And yeah, I mean,
well done.
The first year is always the best, they say.
It's not. It's the hardest. Gets easier after that.
It does, actually, yeah. Get yourself a shed, like I did.
Yeah. I've got 2 sheds.
Have you? We call back the earlier episode.
See what we did there?
She's on the ball. Hey, it's good to have her. I fucking
Yeah.
Right. Next up, a pot noodle sandwich. Discuss. My wife is disgusted that I enjoy them.
Pot noodle sandwiches are amazing.
I haven't had them. I've had what would you call? I've had the ingredients of it.
Right.
So I can have the bread and butter separate.
Right.
And dip into the pot noodle, but I've never actually put it into the.
See, if you come home drunk one night and you have fresh bread, and in fact, I once drunkenly ate really mouldy bread, having a pot noodle sandwich. I woke up, and my mate, God rest her, who's dead now, went.
Did she eat the bread as well?
She didn't die because of eating the bread.
I'm so sorry.
No, she would have loved that. She would have fucking loved that. God rest you, Sarah. She went to me, Brona, look. And I went, what? And she was like, were you eating a pot noodle sandwich? Who was eating the pot noodle sandwich last night in bed? And I went, it was me. Why? And she went, look at the bread you were eating. And I turned around and, Jesus.
No.
Like, yeah, it had its
well,
own...
you got some penicillin. You got some penicillin in for the hangover.
I didn't get sick at all. In fact, ever since then, I think I'm immune to the zombie virus because of it. Fucking brilliant. Pot noodle sandwiches, if your wife doesn't get it, then she'll need to get over it because it is a substantial food group and it's the life source of every student. It's totally grand.
Well, that's our man, Adam Ritchie. Adam's still living the student life. Fucking giddy up, boy. Fair play.
Is he? Yeah.
He must do if he's eeating fucking pot noodle sandwiches.
Did you get thrown out of the house, son?
He's in the backyard.
Adam's in the shed. His head's in the fucking shed.
Right. Hi, Ums and Brona. Brona, I seen you a while back at Queen's Comedy Club. You were fab. Have you any funny stories about your school days, something you'd lost, or holiday horrors?
Oh.
Also, with the live agony hour making a long overdue return the 8th of October, what would you ask Deck Chair and Yums for advice on?
Right.
Well, there's John. That's fucking load of questions there.
That's a load of questions.
Have you any funny stories about your school days, something you'd lost, or holiday horrors? We're not going to ask you for one of all three. So
I have a holiday horror.
Right, go for a holiday horror.
I had a terrible experience there. I was on my sister's wedding holiday. She was getting married abroad. Mm-hmm. Had a great holiday.
Is that what they call it, a wedding holiday?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought that was a term for it. Is there a name for it?
It was a holiday for us. It was a life sentence for her, right? So we were all there and we went all inclusive. Hotel was lovely, but the thing was, she was getting married at the end of the season. So the last day that we were at the holiday must have been the last day that the hotel was open that we stayed in. Right. So they must have been recycling food, right? My kids all started shitting and boking. Then the husband shat and boked, but then he felt better. So the next morning when we were leaving, he was horsing the food into him. He didn't realise it was that. And I ate nothing. I went, fuck that. I'll not chance it. Getting on the plane. The baby boked all over my shoes, right? It was the one time in my life I ever dressed up to go home from the airport, right? Because I was skinny at the time and I thought, I'll look all nice. I ended up wearing a pair of my husband's shorts with a fancy top and a pair of like oversized flip-flops onto the plane. They looked at me beforehand as if to go, should we let her on? Like she looks like she's trouble. Like she looks, But I get on the plane and I said to him, I feel sick. And he went to me, whatever you do, don't be sick before you get on the plane. Wait until we're skyborne and then they can't kick us off, right? Because we need to get on this plane home. So we get on the plane and my son turned around to me and went, Mommy, we'd just taken off. He went, the seatbelt sign wasn't off. And I thought it was a fart. And I've pooped my pants. And I just looked at him and went, "It's okay, son, so have I." Snakes on a plane, talk about shakes on a plane. It was the most ordeal of an aircraft flight I've ever had in my life. It got to the stage where the air attendant was just seeing us coming down the aisle and holding the door open like that. I had a bag of puke. I actually thought I was going to die, and it was the worst flight experience of my life. I actually was going, fuck the bags, don't worry about the bags, just get home. I wanted to leave all our bags in the airport and leave. Like, it was terrible. Even the baby was sitting on my husband's knee booking, and they were sharing a book bag.
All I can think about is sitting in the aisle behind you going,
I know everybody else must have been like, what the fuck? And even the wee man was going, what did you eat? And I was going, no, when you're talking to Huey, it was terrible.
Oh, so, yeah, right.
Haven't been on a plane since.
Moving swiftly along. What would you ask Dexter and Youngster advice on? Not love making, anyway.
How do I recover from a traumatic experience after having sex with a comedian?
A comedian who took advantage.
I'm only joking. No, what would I ask for advice on? Probably something to do with the comedy scene. Like, I would probably say, how do I get a gig in Lavery's again, Mickey? No. I
think the main thing there is you're probably asking the wrong person.
Probably.
I think you are, definitely.
What, Mickey?
Yeah.
And Lavery's?
Yeah.
Why has he not been on Lavery's? I thought he did
Lavery's. He has been
Lavery's.
on Lavery's, but doesn't book Lavery's.
Oh, no, he doesn't book it. I'm only joking.
We'll get you sorted out. We'll hook you up.
I've been on a bit, but they've changed. I was talking to Gaddis, and he was saying about how he doesn't actually do the bookings anymore. To be quite fair, I sent a few emails and messages into the ether, and then I didn't get a response, so I thought, it's not the same person booking it anymore. Do you know
it's
what I mean?
not, but always follow up because they're very busy people.
I get that. I totally get that. No, it was a joke, like, but yeah, I'd probably just ask you something to do with like comedy, or I do that to you though. I'm like, oh, I haven't been on there, but you have. What's it like?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're great at sharing information across. Like,
yeah, we do that.
So promoters beware, because we do talk to each other.
Yeah, we do talk to each other. He doesn't pay you on time. We do, don't we? Don cunt takes you forever to get money out of him. You know, I just say if it's your bad week, don't be waiting on his money coming through. Yeah.
Right. Next up, hi Bruno. What's the toughest crowd you've played to?
Oh, I kind of made an agreement to stop talking about this.
Oh, right. Oh, fuck. Right,
well,
okay.
I'll give you an example. I was talking about this particular gig that actually, in fact, I would like to put this to bed, to rights.
Okay.
I only did a wee joke about it one time because it had just happened. I had performed in this wee place in Lisburn, which was lovely. It was run by really nice people. They were so lovely. Mm-hmm. But it was like a couple of weeks before I went in and I was headlining the Pavilion, and you know how it is in the Pavilion, you're kind of free to try new stuff, or I tend to go on wee tangents anyway and just go off on rants while I'm having a gig, and as long as the audience is enjoying it, I'll keep milking it, right? And I was talking, somebody before me had mentioned Presbyterian, and I was talking about the Lisburn gig. Okay. That was really particularly hard because it was a Sunday night, and it was like, you know, whenever the crowd, a few people had been on before me and died in their holes. And it was like, so they don't like you talking about this. Don't talk about sex. Don't really curse. Don't say fuck. Don't mention orange or green. I was like, well, I may as well just go fucking home. Right? Like, you know, and I opened
But there is something about Lisburn. I don't know. It's
But then the people that ran that gig actually contacted me after joking, because I said, oh, how can you tell Presbyterian budgie? It swings tied up on a Sunday, you know? And then they did titter at that. They laughed at that. But I was like, you know, I'm surprised you're even out on a Sunday then, you know, like making all these jokes and having a wee laugh. And the owner ended up contacting me and going, listen, I am raging that you had that experience there, because that crowd that was in that night was particularly different from the crowd we're used to. So would you give us another go and come back? And I was like, totally, I would love to come back, but I'd also be afraid to in case you all fucking knifed me, you know? But yeah, I've had, gigs. So
did you go back?
No, I haven't been back
Not yet.
I haven't been back yet. But I would give it, the owners, and the space was lovely too.
Was this the Island? Was it Island Theatre?
No, I don't want to mention it because I feel bad.
Okay.
But it was a lovely space to be up in, and the crowd was nice. Sometimes you get gigs and people come along to them and they're like, they're not there for a comedy gig. It's almost like that they want you to do their brand of what they find funny. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, you have to understand the comedies. Sean put a lovely post about it, Haggerty, the other day. Just because you don't find something funny doesn't mean it's not funny.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like people who sit there and go, and do the old sucked lemon. You're like, you can say, I don't find that funny. It's not my brand of comedy. But you can't say she's not funny because I am. And some people do find me funny.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's, because everybody's own opinion. And, and what one person laughs at, the other person doesn't find
the way Sean put it was, it's like listening to, say, Taylor Swift and going, Taylor Swift isn't music. And I would be inclined to agree with that. I'm only joking. But like, you can't listen to music and go, that's not music. It's still music.
It's not
you
what
just
you like.
don't like it, you know.
Yeah.
But no, they were lovely.
I think is there any other fucking art form, if you want to call it that gets more scrutiny than comedy? You know,
we're like the opposite of a rock band. When you go to
Yeah.
a rock band, you want to hear all the songs that you love. But whenever you go like us, you're like, no, I heard that one before.
Because 90% of, that's what they always say, 90% of a joke is the surprise.
Yeah,
So if somebody's heard it before, well then
Then
the impact's not there anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
but it's
not
mad because as a comedian, I love hearing like my mates accusing. I'll go along and I go, oh fuck, I really hope he does that bit. You know, because we love sort of going, I enjoy.
We know the bits,
We know each other's jokes. Like, Aoife went to me, you guys know each other's jokes, and you know, like, you'll be the first person to say, he done that joke, and that's usually such and such's joke. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we do just, because you have your wee greatest hits. You
absolutely,
it. And I love hearing some people's wee stories. You go, oh, fuck, he didn't do that tonight, and I love that. You know.
That'll leave you after a while, Bruno. You'll be like, fuck, not this one again. Right, next up. I saw on Reddit a while back some graffiti saying, not British, not Irish, just a junkie.
Oh, we love it.
What's your favourite piece of graffiti philosophy?
Get away. I do a whole bit about graffiti.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
I do my Wanksy.
Speaking of your bit, yeah.
I have a wee album full of graffiti. Genuinely didn't make that up. Like, I do have a wee album.
I bought the have you seen the NI graffiti, like, on Instagram? You know, they created a frame of all the different.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I have it in my downstairs bathroom. It's like framed up above the toilet, and it's deadly because it's so many of them.
I need that in my life. Oh my god, because I do the whole bit. Drug dealers will be
shat.
Yeah.
What was the one on it? Your mad DJs in supermarkets that called herself DJ Tiesco.
DJ Tiesco. Oh my god! And then there was another one there, and it was
anti-vaxxer called herself Mrs. Doubtfire.
No, that's brilliant. The one I loved was your ma thinks she's an MMA boxer beating your dad up with a Hoover. We Dyson Fury. I just love it because it's that kind of graffiti that just doesn't take itself seriously, but absolutely. There's still a sentiment behind it.
I see it every day because I obviously stand and pee and looking at it, reading it, and every time I see it, it just sums us up to a T because it was of the moment at the time it was happening, but also it didn't happen, but in your head you're like, that's such us, like,
right,
and it just goes, Taylor Swift boat here. Remember she was in Belfast, right? Yes. And it's just a wee arrow pointing out Taylor Swift boat here, and I was like, that's fucking dead.
I love that your ma queues for Primark, which is just, it is so here because they did queue for Primark.
What's the other one? Oh, Judy stuffs Goujon's up her hole. I don't know who Judy is.
Judy for fucking plenty of love. At least you can't get pregnant that way.
Looking good.
Fucking get finger looking good.
Oh, right.
Goujon's up her hole. Is that a real one?
I love it. I swear to God.
Right, I need to find that. Julie stuffed Goujon's up her hole. Fucking boom.
Right. Conor, are you supporting Mickey on the 7th in Derry? I'm going up for my birthday and seeing the two lads together would just make it. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but no, I won't be there. But we are on the Agony on the 9th, which is that Sunday. So please join us here at 8 sometime on that fucking night. Right, next up, Brona. Woo! Conor, I hope you read that as excitedly as I wrote it. I fucking did, actually.
He did. He did you justice.
I love your comedy because it's so damn funny and very relatable. Oh, but I'm wondering, do you get the same feedback from lads? This is from a female, Alicia. Would you know any male comics on the scene with a similar style to yours? Also, absolutely giggle my balls off at the YouTube Word Up series. Class work.
Oh, Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I get compared to Paddy McDonnell a lot.
Is it because you're both Westies or?
We're both Westies. I get called like a female version of him, but I think it is because we do have that kind of chatty sort of style where it's, it's conversational. Do you know what I mean?
And you saw like it is like very working class, which is also sort of quite relatable
we are
as well.
very working class, and I'm very proudly working class.
Oh fuck!
I think it's because I went to uni with a lot of non-working class people too.
Like
So but drama ones.
He hates.
Aye, yeah. Oh, that. Why is he? Does he?
Oh, he's working class.
Mickey's working class. His man and dad still live together. What's he on about?
I know. In a fucking detached house.
Oh, detached.
Detached.
I don't share walls with other people.
but he's working class.
Oh, God love him.
Fuck off, Maggie.
A working class hero is something to be.
And then he always goes, my dad worked in a I was like, yeah, your dad's working class.
Yeah,
You're
totally.
not.
Absolutely. Yeah, bless him.
Yeah. Sorry again. Thank fuck he doesn't watch these. Right. Well, folks, hope you are well. What's the best and worst holidays you've ever been on? Well, we had the worst holiday. What's the best one you've ever been on?
Probably Iceland.
Oh, yeah,
because it was sober.
Oh, you were sober.
I remember it. And it was absolutely beautiful.
Are they amazing to see? I assume they are. I've seen obviously videos and images and stuff, but I mean,
just
unless
beautiful. See, even just standing out underneath the stars, and it's so clear, and you can see. You're very aware of the fact that you're on a planet. When you're in Iceland, you're like, oh my God, I'm on a planet. Yeah. Look at all the stars. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they have the Blue Lagoon, and have the best thing ever was the tiny horses. See, for anybody out there that watches Vikings, and you see them charging along on these big, massive horses. That's not the horses that the Vikings were on. They showed us.
Right.
The Icelandic horses. They're like wee ponies. They're fucking tiny. Imagine like Donkey from Shrek with a big bushy tail. And they're furry. They're hairy. They're not like honed down. And that's what they were riding on, these wee fucking horses. I was like, I've ridden bigger horses than that. Do you know what I mean?
Speaking of Mickey Bartlett.
Yeah. You know, all right, horse. Yeah, so Iceland was the best. What was yours?
But probably between Jamaica and I had one holiday in over visiting family, and this is a terrible thing to say, and thankfully my wife doesn't watch this, but I was on my own.
Right.
I had no kids,
did you
no
love
wife.
it?
Oh, fuck me.
I love those ones.
And it was not like any debauchery or anything like that. It was just the peace to lie in, the peace to not have to go anywhere and just do whatever the fuck I want, just for 10 days.
Have you ever, now people without kids don't kind of understand this statement, but have you ever went, say, on a holiday like that, and you felt so relaxed that you thought you might be dying? Like, you're so unused to that feeling of relaxation that you think there's something wrong with me here. I might have a panic attack because I'm too relaxed.
I genuinely thought at any moment the cops are going to jump over this, because this has to be criminal.
Survival mode.
Feeling this good has to be criminal. Somebody's going to arrest me for this, because this is lovely. Love my children, love my wife, but fuck, this is good.
But you did what a lot of dads don't do. What? You came home.
I came home.
Mine didn't. Come back about 5 years later with another family and a Scottish accent, but sure.
That's for another day.
Yeah, that's another story for another time.
Well, listen, Brona, thank you very much for answering our questions. Thank you to our patrons, as always, for sending them in. Please, as always, if you haven't sent us someone before, please do send them in the future.
That was lovely. I enjoyed
Brona,
that.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
See you next week.
Cheers.